Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Jocelyn and I am an online teacher and digital nomad. I completely understand firsthand how life as a teacher can get pretty hectic. You have your classes to teach, you have lessons to plan, you have students and families of the students to message and stay in contact with, and so much more. That's why I want to dedicate this week's YouTube video to the tips and tricks that you can easily incorporate into your teaching routine and save you tons of time as an Outschool teacher. I've been an Outschool teacher for a few years now, and I'd like to think that I've learned a few things and have definitely incorporated different tips and tricks that have saved me so much time in my teaching routine. So I want to share these with you so that they can do the same for you. And be sure to stay until the end because I have created a free resource that I'm going to share with you that relates to one of the tips I'm going to talk about today and is going to save you so much time. So let's dive in. The first time saving hack I'm going to share with you might seem a little obvious, but if you are like me and are teaching online and also traveling, it's sometimes actually a little bit difficult to do. And this tip is to set up your teaching area and have it be separate from other spaces in the house. Having your teaching area set up maybe a closet or in an office space or just somewhere where you don't have to set it up every day and then take it down so that that space can be used as something else. For example, while I was traveling in South America and teaching, we had a few Airbnbs where my teaching space was actually the kitchen table or the kitchen counter. And while this functioned well enough, I was definitely wasting a lot of time every day setting up my teaching space and then taking it down so that we could eat on the space and then setting it back up the following day. A lot of time was wasted. So, if you have the ability, I highly suggest creating your teaching space and putting it in a place where you don't have to do that. Moving on to tip number 2, this is one of my favorites, and that is to save the notes and messages that you send to families. If you are an Outschool teacher and are teaching the same courses throughout the year, or you're teaching the same course to different groups of students, then you're really going to want to pay attention to this tip. What I suggest doing is creating a Google Doc, a Word document, or maybe something in your notes section on your phone or on your computer where you save the different messages that you send to your families. These can be very general messages just regarding the Outschool platform or welcoming new students, letting students know what they can do if they miss a class, or they can be very specific to the courses that you're teaching, where you're referencing different materials that the students need to bring to the class in order to be successful. You can type these up, save them somewhere, and then this gives you the ability to simply copy and paste these notes the next time that you need to use them, making everything easy peasy. And just to make sure that we're on the same page, let me show you some examples. So, for example, this is one of the Google documents that I created for an ongoing Spanish class that I have with students and that I teach periodically throughout the year, and I teach it to many different groups of students. So, what I have done is I have created little messages that I send out to my students with additional activities that they can complete to practice what we've been learning during the lesson, and then also to help prepare them for future classes. For example, for my fourth class, I have a message here that is going to let people know what we're going to be working on in this class, things that the families should know before they come to class, the different materials they might need in order to be successful. And then I also have this little video that I'm going to send to the students after class so that they can continue to practice what we've been learning. So this makes it very simple where all I would have to do is copy and paste this message and then post it in the classroom. I wouldn't have to take, 5 or 10 minutes to try and think about, okay, what are we doing in this class? Let me look at what materials we need. No, all I have to do is copy and paste this. It reminds me of what we are going to be doing in this class. And it's just a very simple way to let the families know as well. And as you can see, this is a very long class. I think I have, yeah, so far I have 48 lessons here. So if you teach long classes like I do throughout the whole entire year, this is super, super helpful. And remember that free resource that I was talking about earlier? Well, stay tuned because it's related to tip number 2, but we're going to reveal it at the end. So stay tuned. Moving on to tip number 3. Tip number 3 is also a little bit related to the last tip that I shared regarding messages. This tip is specifically for Outschool teachers because Outschool has a really cool feature where you can actually schedule your posts. When I first started teaching on Outschool, each day before I would start a lesson, I would go into my Google document, I would copy and paste the messages, and I would post them for my families. And while this worked okay, there were definitely some days where I was running late or something came up and I had to deal with that situation and then I didn't have enough time to post the message. So it was a little stressful. So what I started doing once Outschool created this new scheduling post feature is I would sit down after my classes finished on Friday afternoon or Sunday afternoon before the week would start and I would begin to teach my new classes. I would go to my Google document and I would copy and paste all of the messages that I would need to send that week and I would schedule them out. And this saved me so much time and so much stress because I knew going into my week that all of my posts were scheduled and ready to get sent out automatically and I didn't have to worry about that during the week. During the week, I could just focus on teaching my classes and I knew that I was okay. And if you're fairly new to Outschool, let me show you what that looks like. And for privacy reasons, I'm going to just be sharing half of my screen because the other half has my learners' names because this is actually an active class. But this is the Outschool classroom for one of the classes I'm currently teaching. And if I scroll down, you can see that I have all of those notes that I've been talking about, right? I have different reminders. I have notes about the materials they're going to need for the class. All of the different attachments are already set. And so when I want to go and create a new message, all I would have to do is type my message here. I'm just going to type something very simple. And then I would click send. And then what you can see is I can select a publish time. So I can decide to publish this now, or I could decide to publish it later. So what I would do on a Friday afternoon or Sunday afternoon is I would sit down and I would schedule out all my notes. So I could say I want this to be sent tomorrow at 5 p.m. And then I would just click publish later. And then the other cool thing about this is I can look at the notes that I have that are unpublished. So as you can see, I have one that's set to go out February 25th at 12 p.m. I have one for Thursday, one for Wednesday. So as you can see, these are all prepped and ready to go, and I am able to view them. If I need to edit the post, I can also do that very easily. Another thing that is a huge time-saving hack for Outschool teachers is you can copy an existing post from another section of the same course. So for example, this beginning Spanish class that I teach this to 10 different groups of students. So I really don't want to have to go from my document, copy and paste for every single one of these 10 classes when I'm sending out the same notes for each class because we're doing the same thing. So what I can do is I can click this copy existing post and then I can choose what section I want to copy it from. So maybe I initially posted them all in my Monday class and then I can select the post. I would copy this post and then I would have the opportunity if I had to make any changes before publishing, I could do that and then I could schedule it just like I did with those other notes. So this is another time-saving hack if you're teaching the same class to a lot of different sections of students. Okay, tip number 4. This tip is don't reinvent the wheel or make things harder for yourself than it needs to be when it comes to lesson planning. Let it be easy. Use tools that are going to help make the process smoother and faster. My top tools for the online classroom are WordWall because I can very easily create activities for my students, and creating these games takes like 5 or 10 minutes, and I can reuse them over and over again. I use Nearpod, and then I also use Canva to create a lot of my game templates as well as presentations. These tools make it fun and easy to create classes, which makes the process more enjoyable and it makes it move smoother and faster, saving me time in the process. I also highly recommend that you create game templates that you're able to reuse for different classes. And I'll be sure to post my video tutorial on how to do this using Canva in the description box below if you're interested in how you can create these templates for yourself. So, my teacher friend, in summary, the 4 things that you can do as an Outschool teacher to save yourself a ton of time is number 1, create a teaching space that is just your own so that you don't have to waste time setting it up and taking it down on the daily. Tip number 2, save the messages you send to your students so that you can reuse them and save time by just copying and pasting them. Tip number 3, use Outschool's awesome message scheduler and prep your notes ahead of time so you don't have to worry about them during the week. Tip number 4, use game templates on Canva and other online tools like WordWall and Nearpod to save you time when creating lessons and activities for you and your students to do during class. And as promised, friend, in order to get things moving for you and help you save time, I have a free resource that I am going to share with you. This resource includes templates for general messages you can send on Outschool, where all you have to do is fill in the student's name, copy and paste it, and send it along to your students. I have templates for when new students join your class, if a student is late to your class, or if a student misses your class and they want to know what their options are, among a few others. I have all of these and more just waiting for you to use. All you have to do is scroll down to the description box where I have left the link to the Google document. You can click on that, request permission to access the document. I am more than happy to give you permission to view it, and then you can copy and paste them into your own document so you can use them for future use. And this is going to save you a ton of time when you are messaging families and students. So, teacher friend, I hope you can take advantage of these time saving hacks that have made a world of difference for me and my own classroom. Let me know down in the comment section below which of these time saving tricks you are most excited about using and whether or not maybe you have some of your own. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos in the future. Happy teaching and see you next time.